All right. Well, it is 10 a.m. So, hello everyone, right? Everyone watching Facebook, wherever you are in the world. My name is Stephanie. Today we are going to be doing Fusion Flow, which is a blend of both yoga and Pilates. Um, how I teach, we move slow, we focus on alignment, we focus on isolation of movement, control of movement, stabilizing our body, and with that um, comes work, right? So we're not gonna move a ton, right? We're not gonna do huge, bold movements. We're not gonna work quickly, but with moving slowly, you have a chance to really hone in on the control of your body to feel it. If it is kind of out of alignment, you'll notice it maybe a little bit more easier due to that slow pace. You can readjust yourself, but also moving slow, then the body's constantly in resistance and working. So it actually becomes sometimes a little bit more challenging to move at a slower pace than it would if you were to move really quickly. Excuse me. We'll be doing some stretching in the beginning to really warm ourselves up. And I really want to focus a lot on core work today. I did a little bit of that Monday in Monday's class, but really focusing on really firing up that powerhouse, that center. Again, not so much for that kind of six-pack ab type of outcome, but more really to strengthen the deep-rooted muscles that help support our spine, our posture, and our balance and movement. So yeah, if you have a mat towel, blanket, or just a padded kind of ground underneath you, it'd be good for your back today because we are going to start there, right? Lying on our back. So let's go ahead and get that started. So on your back, you're going to want to have your knees bent, feet grounded. And then take a moment to align yourself here. And we want the feet and knees to be only about hip width distance apart. So that's actually fairly narrow. I'm speaking of the hip bones in your front body. So again, just about 2 fist distances. Oh, I just feel like a friends thing. 2 fist distances away from one another here, okay? And then from that, lying on your back, arms at your sides, palms faced up, roll the shoulders open, right? Even lightly pressing the backs of your shoulders into the ground will really help it to broaden you across your chest. And then finding length here. So feeling the crown of your head reaching to the back of your mat as your tailbone stretches to the front of the mat. And go ahead and close your eyes here, okay? So giving yourself a chance to go just a little bit more inward in this space. I'm going to take this time here to notice your breath. Something that we don't often pay attention to. So this is your chance here now to really become in tune with your inhales and your exhales. So just start to feel the way in which the breath just kind of moves in and out of your body. Maybe you start to notice a rhythm to your breath. Maybe start to smooth it out a little bit, find some fluidity to it. Feel how the breath moves your body, even though you're in stillness, right? Maybe that subtle rise and fall of your belly or your chest. Right, again, these things that we don't pay much attention to normally because we do not have to. So when we do take the time to notice, that is when we can build the quality of our breath, deepen our breath, really start to use the full capacity of our lungs. Right? And when we do that, it can offer both a physical and mental relief in a way. Okay, so start here to now really slow your breath down. You want to take longer, deeper breaths in. And then slow and steady exhales back out and really make sure that you're emptying out completely here. Deep inhale, start it low in the pit of your belly. Let it fill into the ribs. Let it come all the way up into the chest. Maybe pause there just for a moment. Hold it. And then on your exhale, find the release from the chest, down through ribs, and that final squeeze and push out through the lower belly region. And as you inhale, allow your body to expand and open, filling up both front, sides, and your back body with air. As you exhale, feeling yourself start to knit and draw back to your midline. Start to really push that air out with a little bit of force. And continue to take light, easy breaths in, but now as you exhale, really forcefully and audibly push that air out. Notice how that changes your midsection when you breathe like that, right? Light, easy inhales, the belly rises and it's soft. But when you force that breath out, feeling your lower abdominals drawing down deeply, right? We're firming into the core. And that's what we want to look for here with our breath. So continue with this, right? Easy inhales, strong exhales, and really start to build up the relationship between your breath and your core. They work hand in hand with each other, okay? Your breathing, and I'll always mention this in class, is 50% of the work. So we want to train our body now to breathe in such a manner before we begin moving so that when the exercises do come into play later on, our core is already used to this engagement. So it's going to help to get you through those movements later on. Go ahead and take 3 more rounds of breath here and see if you can start to pull your abs in even deeper with every exhale that you take. And that last round of breath, fill all the way up. And then as you exhale, firm in your core to then lift your feet off the ground, draw the knees into the chest, wrap your arms around your legs, give yourself a hug. From here, just begin to gently rock side to side, move with the tempo of your breath so the quality does not get lost, massaging into our back. Then from side to side, start to create a circular motion with your legs. Let your hands guide this movement. So if your hands were clasped at all, go ahead and try to release that to find a greater range of motion in the body here. Take then a moment to pause and reverse direction. Deep breaths in, strong breaths out. Feeling this into the backs of our hips, just above the tailbone. Then go ahead and bring the body back into still at center. We're going to release the feet back down to the floor. We're going to walk the feet out just slightly wider than shoulder width, knees the same, so you have a wide stance with your legs. Then your arms, you're going to go ahead and take them out to a T. Or if you're really close like I am to the wall or a piece of furniture, you can bend your elbows to create cactus arms. But what we want with our arms, they should be an anchor for us. So plug the backs of your shoulders and shoulder blades to the floor. Knees bent, feet grounded, legs opened wide. We're going to work into some hip mobility, warming into the lower back, but also starting to use our abdominal strength. So on an inhale, just gently lower your legs over to the right side. And then as you exhale, firm that core in tight and begin to slowly bring the legs back up to center again. Then with your next breath in, legs are going to lower over to the left side. And then push that air out and slowly begin to lift the legs back up again, right? So you're going to continue with this movement, okay? Windshield wiper motion here. That movement side to side is going to work into the hips as well as the lower back. However, so each time you exhale, using your core strength. So as the legs move from side to side, they really should just be along for the ride here. Core should be doing most of the work for this. Go ahead and take 1 more to your right side, 1 more to your left side. And then once you've completed 1 more to each side, your legs will land back at center and then begin to heel toe the feet back into hip width distance apart. So again, it's that 2 fist distances away from one another. Then you can take your arms and rest them close at your sides. Next, we're going to move into marching. Again, it's a super simple movement, one that can be done without working the core at all. However, we're going to use this exercise as a way to train our bodies to rely on our abdominal strength for this. So with feet grounded, knees bent, on an inhale, you're going to lift your right foot off the ground and draw the knee towards your chest. Then on the exhale, slowly begin to release that right foot back down to the floor. Then the left foot on an inhale lifts up and the knee pulls in towards chest. And then exhale, a slow release back down, feeling a bit of resistance on the way back to the floor. Now continuing this movement here, this marching. Using abs on the way down. So breath in, belly fills. Push the air out. Feel the navel draw down the spine as the foot releases back to the ground. So continuing with this movement, generally when we do this, we rely on our hip flexors, right, in the front there. We want to eliminate that as much as we can. So feeling the lower abs, pull in deep, controlling the movement to the very end. Then take one more to your right side, one to your left. I just want to even out our body here. And then once you finished, one more to each side, plant both feet firmly to the floor. Right, so again, that was a super simple movement, one that could be done without the core, but we want to learn how to use our core for all those simple movements, transitional movements, movements where we don't think we need it, but it's there for support. From here, go ahead, take your right ankle, cross it over your left knee, flex the foot, push the right leg away. Give your body some space in the outer hip. Figure 4 stretch, you can stay here. You could also lift the left leg up to hold it from behind and maybe draw it in. Taking a moment here to just get a stretch to that outer hip on the right side. You can offer movement, gentle rocking back and forth if you'd like. Or you could stay in stillness, or maybe you find an angle that you're like, oh, this is the sweet spot, and you just stay here. I'm moving today because I did a lot of leg workout yesterday, so I want to get a good old stretch to the hip and glute. All right, go ahead. If you are in movement or angled, bring yourself back to center. Let's release that stretch, switch sides. Left ankle over the right knee. Energy through heel of foot, push it out to help press the leg away, a little bit more space. And again, any variation. Right leg can lift up. You can keep that right foot grounded. Stillness or movement, angled or not. Just feel your own body. Check your shoulders here though. If holding onto that right leg, generally your shoulders tend to pull up. We want to drive them down to the floor. Good. And then if you were in movement, again, or angle, just bring yourself back to center. Let's go ahead and release that stretch and take our legs to tabletop. So tabletop seems pretty simple, but a lot of the times we tend to draw the knees in too closely to body. You're going to know when you're in tabletop because your abdominals actually have to work fairly decently to hold that space. So knees should be stacked directly over hips. You're going to feel your tailbone root to the floor. And then ankles are going to be in line with your knees. So you're creating this 90-degree angle with your legs. And once the legs are here, you'll be like, ooh, there's the core tightening up to support the back to hold the legs in this space. We're going to start with arms either close at our sides. If you want more stability, you're going to take your arms out to T. At any point in time, if you want more heat, lift your arms to the sky with palms facing each other. So similar movement to that we did earlier with our marching, but now we're doing it in the opposite direction. So starting with legs lifted, right leg on an inhale, begin to lower it downward. Find a level that works for you. Maybe the toes or the heel taps down, and then exhale, use core strength to bring that leg back to its starting point. Good, then the left leg is going to come down, and then exhale, find the lift again. Continue this movement now. So what we have to focus on here, not only the movement of the one leg, but making sure that the other leg does not move, right? Sometimes that still leg, quote unquote, that still leg, the knee starts to creep in closer to body. So every once and again, check in on it, feel it in your body, okay? Sometimes the ankles may begin to sink down, right? Keep them in line with the knee. Remember, 90-degree angle. Isolation, right? Control of movement. Take one more with the right side. One more with the left side. Using your core again on the exhale, really pull back up slow. And once you've done one more to each, draw both knees in, wrap your arms around, give yourself a hug, and rock side to side, moment to recover. So we're going to do that one again. This time we're moving both legs at the same time. Now, Because of that, it's a little bit more intense for your core. It's going to bring a little bit more focus into the lower abdominals. So you may notice that your range of motion has shifted, has maybe become a little bit smaller. Totally fine. Feel what works for your body. Again, arms can be at your side, out to T, or lifted to the sky for a little bit more intensity. So now here in tabletop, on an inhale, both legs are lowering downward at the same time. Do not arch your back. Press it into the floor. Exhale, lower abs. Draw down. Bring legs back up. Make sure they land the knees above the hips. Coming down on an inhale. Push that air out. And lift. It's actually going to feel like you're stopping short of movement, but you're actually landing in that space, which is keeping resistance. We'll do 4 more of these. If you feel any discomfort in your lower back or your hip flexors, again, make the movement smaller. Good, we're going to do 2 more of these. Breath in for the slow lower. Breath out for the slow lift. One last time, coming downward on an inhale. Find a level that works for you. This time, exhale, draw the knees all the way in. Wrap, hug, recovery here. Yeah. So I said we're going to work a lot more into our core today, just kind of firing up to get it started. Now let's go ahead and bring ourselves back into still. Knees stay into the chest. Arms either, again, at side close, out to T for more support, or for more heat with this one, head and shoulders are going to lift, hands behind the head, widen the arms, eyes on your navel. For some leg extensions, take a big breath in, fill all the way up, and then exhale, extend the legs away from body. You could reach them as high as the sky, or bring them to as low as a hover. Ooh, I'm already quivering. Draw the knees back in. Inhale. So again, find a level of extension that's going to work for you. Again, the back is an arch. It's anchored to floor. Draw the knees back in. So we want our spine to be an anchor so that we don't slide around on the ground when the legs are moving out and back in. Fill it all the way up. We're going to do 4 more of these. Exhale, find length out through your toes. Good. Draw back in. And if your head is up here and you're finding that you're straining in the neck or shoulders, readjust yourself, right? You can take your head back to the mat, redirect focus back to the core, and then you always have the option to lift the head back up again if wanting to. Let's do 1 more here. Exhale, extend the legs out. Let's hold the legs out here. Flutter kicks. Tiny, tiny little movements up and down, pointing the toes, firming those legs up. Control. 5, steady breathing. 4, 3, I'm burning already. 2, good. 1, and then release it. Knees in, head down if it were lifted. Again, moment to recover. Just the beginning here, guys. Still just the warm up. All right, we're going to move into still working the abs, but also now stretching into the backs of our legs. Hamstring stretch. So coming into what are called scissors or single straight leg. Let's take both legs to sky and grab behind the right leg with both hands. Taking the left leg and begin to lower it downward. Again, find a level that works for you. The lower the leg, the more intense it will be. Head can stay grounded for this. Head, neck, and shoulders can lift up. Eyes on navel for, again, more intensity. Check your shoulders here. While holding that right leg, make sure the shoulders didn't pull up. Drop them down away from ears. Release that tension. All right, single leg stretch, or single straight leg rather. On a breath in, 2 slow pulses in with that right leg towards your body. Pulse, pulse. Use the breath out to scissor and switch the legs. Holding your left leg as the right leg lowers, pulse it in twice on an inhale. Switch it out on the exhale. Take your time with this one. Move very, very slowly. Again, it's for control, right? So the legs are moving. The hands, of course, are moving to switch from one leg to the other, but everything else should be like a statue here. Very still, very isolated. Okay, take time to maybe take a subtle pause, with each pulse so that you really get that nice deep stretch into the backs of your legs. And again, adjusting your body if you're finding any tension is coming into play, right? Want to release tension and gain strength. We'll do this for 4 more cycles of breath. Inhaling and exhaling. If I cue the breath and you're finding you're doing the opposite, that is totally fine. Just make sure you're breathing, period, right? So if it feels more comfortable to exhale when I say inhale, certainly please go ahead and do that. Okay, after your 4th round of breath, no rushing here. Let both legs lift to the sky. If your head was up, take it down. And again, moment to rest. Wonderful. Okay. We're going to move next into my favorite exercise. I think I mentioned it on Monday. We are going to be adding this in every class that I do because I feel it's a really great one. It works the core, it gives us a deep back body stretch. Moving into roll-ups. So if you followed me on Monday, I went through a few options, right? A modified version, kind of your maybe classic version, and then a more intensified version. If you're used to roll-ups, you're going to go ahead and do them however you see fit. If you are a little bit more new to Pilates and you're unsure of what the roll-up is, I'm going to cut through to the same ones that we did the other day. We'll start with a modified version. So on your back, you want your knees bent, feet grounded, and arms are going to stretch up and overhead. Feel the ribs seal down towards your spine here so that the core is already firm. Take a breath in. Begin to peel yourself up. Your arms, your head, your shoulders. Pull the arms forward. Grab the backs of the legs. Exhale. Bring your body all the way up to a seated position. Okay. From here, extend your legs out long and stretch your arms to the sky. Take a breath in. Find a lot of length here. And then a nice slow fold forward over your legs. Keep your feet flexed. Let the head fall through. Plug the shoulders back into their sockets. Deep inhale to restack the body, fingertips to sky. As you exhale, you're tucking your tailbone under, you're scooping out that core, you're rounding your back, and you're reconnecting one vertebra at a time. Okay, so remember the modified version, we start with knees bent so you can grab behind the legs. Option to start with legs fully extended. Same breath, same movement. Inhale, start your lift. When it gets hard, push the breath out. Feel the legs now anchored down as you rise. Heart to sky, breathe it in here. Fill it back up. Fold forward. Don't lose the flex of the feet. Check those shoulders again. Breath in, restack. Lifting back up. And then rolling back down slower than you'd like to. Feel the heels drive away from your body on the way back down. I'm going to do a few more of these. I'm going to stay a couple more with this kind of classic roll up. Again, you can come back to modified if you feel more comfortable with that. Take your time here. Inhale, rise, and then roll back down to your mat. So I'm going to transition to a more challenging version. I'm going to stack one hand on top of the other, palms to sky, place those hands onto the forehead. Breath in, start your lift again. Exhale, keep the arms wide as you come up. Yes, you heard that struggle. It was a little bit more challenging here, right? A nice still fold forward for that back body stretch. Lift up tall, take a breath in, and then roll it down slow. We're going to do one more of these, so whichever variation you're feeling this morning or this afternoon, go ahead and go for it. Breath in, start it. Push the air out when it gets challenging. Do not hold that breath. We tend to do that when it gets hard. We want to do the opposite. You use that breath as a tool here, folding forward. This time with this last one, take a breath in, restack. We're going to stay stacked. We're just going to release the arms down along our sides. Awesome work. Let's go ahead and transition to tabletop from here. So go ahead and come on to your hands and your knees. So at hands and knees, spread your fingers wide, maybe even lightly grip the ground to support your wrists. Knees should be hip width apart, and then rather than looking straight down at your hands, which tends to happen a lot, right? We just kind of drop our head down. Find more length in your body by just looking past the either front of your mat or towel or blanket. If you don't have that, just kind of look just a handful of inches past your fingertips. Excuse me, that's going to send your heart forward and really lengthen out your spine. Softness in the elbows so the arms aren't locked up, but also lift out of the arms so you're not sinking, right? We don't want this to be relaxed. We actually want this to be activated. Pull the lower belly up and in. Let's take a breath in here with everything strong. Exhale, extend your right arm forward and left leg back behind you. So try to really make this aligned hip-wise. So point that left pinky toe down to the floor, and that will level those hips. Plug your right shoulder head back into its socket. Did you sink into that left arm? Can you push out of it again? And then really draw the heart forward here. Good. Take a breath in. And then on the exhale, release the hand, release the knee back to tabletop. And then notice if you had a big old shift back to center, that's just an indication that you've lost that alignment somewhere along the way. So trying to keep everything centered through. We'll do the other side. Breathe it in. Exhale now, left arm forward and right leg back. So take your time. Moving slowly also allows you to see if it's shifted or not. All right, sometimes when we move quickly, we just land somewhere and then we have to adjust. Can we get to the space while still keeping that form? So again, sometimes now the right shoulder pulls away from the wrist. We're gonna pull everything forward, belly in and up, breath. Take an inhale here. Exhale, hand and knee back down. And again, try to keep body weight centered. All right, so we're gonna add to this now. We're gonna add in a side extension. So with that, our breathing pattern is gonna switch up for this. So we're coming back to right arm and left leg. I'm doing it forward here so you can see the extension that's going to happen. So on an inhale, right arm forward, left leg back. As you exhale, you're going to slowly extend the arm and leg out to their sides. Good, and come back through center. So we're gonna activate our waistline, our oblique muscles to help here with this balance. Exhale, as the arm and leg extend out to the side, send the heart forward. Try not to lean back into that grounded leg, right? Keep, again, everything centered. Come back through. On an inhale, we're just going to do one more here. Take your time. We're activating also that outer hip muscle to get that leg to shift out. Come back through center as you breathe in, and then release, come back to tabletop position. Good. We'll go to the other side. So left arm forward, right leg back, inhaling. Extension off to the sides as you exhale. So equal weight in grounded arm and grounded leg. Come through, breathe in, take your time with movement. Also slow extension, so move with your breath. Good, come back through center. One last time here, exhale, take it out to the sides. Good, come back through center. Go ahead, release the hand, release the knee, tabletop position again. Wonderful. So again, we didn't move a whole very quickly, but that side extension gets really challenging for our abdominals to help support us. Let's go ahead and get a little stretch into the shoulders since we are holding ourselves up here. Take your right arm on an inhale, sweep it out to the side, look up to the hand, open your chest. Then take that arm and thread it underneath you. Stretch it across the floor, look over to your left, and then rest all the way down onto that arm. Still actively stretching across so that it gets a nice pull into the back of the shoulder. Any variation of this that feels right for you, let's go ahead and come into it. Ooh, my back cracked. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that felt good. You can take one more breath in here. And then on the exhale, go ahead and unwind. Come back to your tabletop form. We'll go to the other side, left arm sweeping out and up, breathing in, open your chest, thread it through. Actively now reach across, look to your right, and then let that body weight just melt on top of that arm. Spread the fingers of that left hand, right? Keep that arm still active while in stretch. Good. Take one more deep breath in here. And then unwind it slow on the exhale back to tabletop form. From tabletop, let's go ahead and transition to child's pose. So taking the knees out wide, big toes to touch. Sit back to your heels. Begin to fold over the legs, walking your hands out in front of you so the arms are nice and long. So this is a grounding posture, but it will be an energetic one as well. So with arms extended out nice and long, spread out those fingers and make sure your hands are a little bit wider than shoulder width. Sometimes we tend to narrow our hands at the top in child's pose. What that does is it can close off the chest. So keeping the hands a little bit wider than shoulders will keep that part of the body nice and opened, okay? Spread out your fingers, suction your hands to the ground, and then lift the forearms off, right? Lifting the arms, there's that energy. Then physically slide your shoulder blades down your back. That just creates a little bit more space. Again, shoulders away from ears. Then try to pull your belly away from your thighs. Will it necessarily? No, but the idea of the energy drawing in and up with your powerhouse. Okay. From this space, tuck your toes under. We're going to transition to downward facing dog. So we're going to begin to lift the hips up to the sky. Keep a bend in your knees at first here. So the bend of the knees is going to help with the lift of your tush to the sky here. And then as the hips are lifting up, actively push your chest back towards your thighs, and then maybe begin to straighten out the legs. And maybe you'll still need a slight bend in your knees to keep this sits bones up, and that's totally cool, okay? Heels here. They may not necessarily touch the ground, okay? But energy-wise, you want to feel your heels try to root to the earth. And then take the ribs here, try to seal them back towards your spine, and that will reactivate the abdominals. So here we are in our downward facing dog. Take a moment maybe to shake the head, yes or no, just kind of loosen that out. We're going to move into some planks next. So in your downward dog, on an inhale, take your heels now, lift them up very high, right over the balls of your feet. And then as you exhale, begin to slowly glide forward into a plank, top of a push-up. So plank can be hands and feet. Plank can also be hands and knees. So note that you can come down to those if you're needing. Just make sure the booty doesn't push back in that space. You want the hips to draw forward. Okay, so all of your muscles are fired here in plank. Your legs hug into midline, your glutes squeeze in. If your hips and thighs begin to sink, pull them away from the earth, activate the lower abs. All right, if we're falling into the arms, we puff up between the shoulder blades, and we soften the elbows, and we look slightly forward. Good. Take one more breath in here in your plank position. Exhale, back to down dog. Start with the hips, lifting them high, then chest pushing back to thighs. Heels drop downward, ribs seal inward. Here we are. We'll do that again. Inhale, heels up. Exhale, wave into your plank. Feel the legs, the glutes, the core, the chest, the arms. Any variation of plank that feels right for you, but hold the space. Everything is fired and working. We're not moving, but we're doing the job, right? Take one more breath in, and then exhale back to downward dog again. Start with the hips up, then feel the chest push back, then feel the heels draw down, then feel the ribs seal back in. Let's do one more of these. Inhale, heels high. Exhale, glide it in. Heart is forward here. We're looking slightly forward here. We never want the head to drop through. Breathe. Maybe that breath is super strong, super audible, super fired up. Grip the ground with your hands. Support yourself here. You're gonna take one more breath in. And then as you exhale, back into downward facing dog. Honestly, we could do a whole hour of just that. We would have gotten a great workout, right? We won't do that, but just the idea of it doesn't take a whole lot to get the job done, okay? Look forward next on your inhale. Exhale, walk your feet to your hands. Take as many or as little step as you'd like. We're coming into a forward fold. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Take a halfway lift on an inhale. So you're drawing your shoulders up to hip level, and you're opening across your chest here. So hug lightly between the shoulder blades. And then melt over the legs again as you breathe out. Fold. Let that release. We'll do that again. Inhaling, halfway lifting, never pushing the chin forward. Stretch out through the crown of your head. And then fold it down. Exhale, melt back over the legs again. Become heavy upper body. Once more, breathe in, halfway lift. Maybe even stretching the arms behind you, keeping the arms in line with side body. That really helps to keep that chest open. Then exhale, release, and let that fold. Come all the way to standing now on an inhale, grounding your feet equally as you rise up. I'm going to come to kneeling so you can see me. Arms overhead. Interlace the fingers. Exhale, hands behind the head. Actively pull arms back. That is upper back activation. We're working into our waistline here. On an inhale, stretch over to your right side. So we're essentially now stretching out the left side body. Then as you exhale, firm that belly in and slowly pull yourself up. Stack again. Moving to the other side. Inhale, stretching to the left side. Good. Push that air up, but slowly. So feel the belly pull, 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 pull in firm. So we're not using any momentum here, guys. Let's do one more to each side. Side stretch to the right. Draw your navel back towards your spine as you slowly bring it back up. Once more, stretching to the left. Firm up that belly and bring it on up. Exhale. Good. Stay here. Inhale, release the fingers and extend your arms back up to the sky. Dive forward over the legs. Exhale. Good. Take that halfway lift again on an inhale. And then plank position again on the exhale. Ground your hands down and step back to your form of plank. Let's stay here for a moment. We're going to work our abs. We're going to work our glutes. Take a breath in. As you exhale, right foot comes off the ground. Heart stretches forward. Release that. Breathe in. Then the other side, left leg. Good. Let that release. If you're on your knees, you can do this as well. We'll do one more each side. Right leg is going to lift behind you. And release. Good. Left side. Find lift. Heart stretches to the front. Good. Release that back down. Stay here in your form of plank. Breath in. Lower all the way to the ground on the exhale. Let's go ahead and extend both arms out long in front of you. Hips are your anchor here. Press them down to the floor as you breathe in. Lift everything off the ground. Arms, head, heart, and legs. Exhale. Float it back down to the floor. Let's do that again. Breath in. Arms, head, heart, and legs. All one unit. Come up. And then exhale. Slowly bring them back down. So again, we're not moving quickly here. Let's do two more. Breath in. Arms, head, heart, legs. Don't push that chin forward, right? Keep the back of your neck long. Float it back down as you exhale. On this last one here, we're going to lift everything off the ground and go right into swimming. So we're going to stiffen the arms and legs and paddle them up and down. Keep the heart up. Keep the head steady. Torso steady. Breath. 5. Fire it up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it go. Hands underneath your shoulders. Press back into a child's pose. Breathe here into your back body. Ooh, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and start to transition back into downward facing dog. So spread out those fingers, tuck the toes, hips are up, chest is back, heels are down, and ribs are sealed in. Right leg on an inhale is going to lift up behind you. On your exhale, pull your knee in towards your chest. Draw the shoulders over the wrists, a 3-point plank. Push it back again into a 3-legged dog. Stretch the right leg behind you. We'll do that again. Exhale, knee towards chest, shoulders over wrists. Look slightly forward here. Push it back, 3-legged dog on an inhale. This last one, knee towards chest, shoulders over wrists. Then step that right foot up towards right thumb. You can physically pick the foot up to get it there. Here we are in a low lunge. Low lunge, though, we don't want to sink down into it. I know it feels really good for the hip flexor. We'll get to that stretch in a moment. So in the meantime, take your hips, try to draw them up to shoulder level. Right, that back leg is punching to the sky. Tented fingers to push away from the ground. Flatten your back, open your chest. Good. From here in your low lunge, extend your right arm forward as if you're shaking somebody's hand. Good. Take that arm, then lift it to the sky. Roll open to the right side of your mat. A simple twist here. Okay. So when we're in this twist, we want to make sure that we're not sinking down into that left arm. So keep pushing away from the floor. I want to rise here, right? Spread the fingers of your right hand, look up to it, and keep that back heel popped over the ball of your foot. Good. Take another breath in here. And then on the exhale, release that right hand back down to the floor. And then go ahead and release the left knee to the ground. Untuck the toes. Here we are for that hip flexor stretch. Breath in, rise and stack, shoulders over hips, arms to sky. As you breathe out, take both hips and that right knee, glide it forward. At the same time, fingertips begin to reach back behind you. So the weight of hips forward and fingers back creates that pull into that left hip flexor. Gonna take one more breath in here. And then on the exhale, take the hands back down, frame the front foot. Back toes curl, knee comes up. We're back into that low lunge. From low lunge, take a step back, come into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Good. With your next inhale, take your left leg and lift it behind you. On your exhale, you're drawing that left knee towards your chest as your shoulders pull over your wrists. You're coming into a 3-point plank. Push it back again on an inhale to a 3-legged dog. Here, I'll come straight here. Exhale, knee to chest, shoulders over the wrists, heart forward. Get that thigh up and in. Press back. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Last one here. Exhale, pull it in. And then step up towards that left thumb. Low lunge. So remember, it's going to feel like you're trying to take off for like a track race. So really hike those hips up, flatten out your back, right? Almost hovering over that left thigh. Back heel popped and lifted. Keep your right hand grounded. Extend your left arm forward as if shaking someone's hand. Then take that arm and sweep it up, stack it over its shoulder, and roll your heart open. Did you fall into your right arm? We have a tendency to sink. We want to rise, right? There's still rooting down, but root to rise, yes. Keep that back leg punching up. Good. Take one more breath in here with this kind of twist, this opener. Exhale, release the left hand back down, frame the front foot. Then release your back knee down to the floor, untuck the toes. Take a breath in to rise, bring shoulders back over the hips again, arms frame the ears. Then as you exhale, let the hips and the front knee glide forward. Feel the shoulders start to draw back, heart lifting up, fingertips reaching back. Gaze upward slightly towards the sky. Drop your shoulders from your ears. Soften your face, smooth out the breath. Good, take one more inhale here. And then exhale, hands back down, frame the front foot. Good, back toes curl, knee comes back up, you're in low lunge again. Take a step up now, come into forward fold. Good, take a halfway lift on an inhale. Remember that long spine and opened chest. Exhale, melt forward to release. Good. Inhale, come all the way to standing. Ground those feet. Rise. Lift arms overhead. Exhale, interlace fingers. Hands behind the head. Good. Tip to your right as you breathe in. Firm in that belly. Exhale, restack. Good. Stretch to your left. Breath in. Exhale, pull it in firm. Inhale, release the hands. Extend the arms back up. Exhale, dive forward over the legs. Halfway lift on an inhale. Lower down to seated on the exhale. Once you've come down here to seated, we're going to go ahead and make sure that you're sitting at the center of your mat. Or blanket, or towel. Or if you're on the ground, then you're going to be at center no matter where you are, right? Go ahead and roll onto your back from here. Draw both knees into the chest. We're getting back to those abs. Let's go ahead and hold on to the right knee with both hands. Extend the left leg away from you. It can be as high as sky, as low as a hover, or anywhere in between, okay? Head can be grounded, head can be lifted. Single leg stretch. On an inhale, switch the legs. Grab the left leg as the right leg lengthens out. And then exhale to switch, right? One breath, one movement here. Take your time. Again, this idea of isolation and control of movement. If your head is up here, your eyes are on your navel. If you start to feel any strain in the neck, head comes back down, okay? Feel the length out through the toes of that extended leg. And give your other knee a little hug in to get that back body stretch into the glute, okay? We're going to take this now and just speed it up a little bit. So we're going to inhale to switch twice, and then exhale to switch twice. Good. Inhale, switch. Good. Exhale. If you want more heat, you're going to take your hands back behind your head, arms wide. Good. Inhale, switch. Exhale. Two more. Inhaling. Exhaling. Last one. Breathe it in. Good. Breathe it out. Good. Both knees in. If head was up, take it down. Recovery here. Breath. Good. All right, we're gonna keep those knees in, keep our hands on our knees. We're gonna move right into double leg stretch. So single leg, we're moving into double leg here. Head again can stay grounded, or head, neck, and shoulders can come up for more intensity. Breathing in now, you're extending legs and arms away from the body, away from center. Sweep it all together, exhale, come back into that ball. So this could look like inhale, arms and legs straight up to the sky, and then pull it back in on the exhale. It could also look like inhale, really taking those arms and legs low, just above the floor. Exhale, pull it in, or and again, anywhere in between. Inhaling, reaching away from center body. Sweep it around, pull it back in. Let's do 2 more of these. Breath in, spine is your anchor here. Exhale, contraction. Once more, inhale, slowly expand. Exhale, slowly contract. Release, recover. Good. We're going to do 1 more core exercise here, lying on our back. And these are coming from the abs series. So generally there's 5 in this series, all of course dedicated to focusing on the abs. I'm picking just 3 from this. We did, again, the single leg stretch, double leg stretch. Now we're gonna move into crisscross because I really want us to focus on activating our obliques, the waistline muscles. So crisscross, we're gonna start in a modified version and then we're gonna build up if you'd like to. So just following along. We'll start with knees bent, feet grounded, interlacing the fingers, hands behind the head. We're gonna come up to the tips of the shoulder blades. So here, the only movement that we're gonna start with is just that lifted part of our body, tips of shoulder blades up. Everything from tips of shoulder blades down, anchored. Yeah, take a breath in. Rotate to your right on the exhale, just a little twist. Keep both arms out wide. Then centering yourself on an inhale, make sure that head stays level. Twist to the other side, rotation. Okay, come back through center on an inhale. So you're gonna continue just a small, subtle movement, okay? But as you're doing this twist with just that small part of your body, you're actually working your muscles to keep everything else from moving, right? So a lot of times it's more important what's not moving rather than what is, okay? Continue with this movement. 1 breath, 1 movement. If you want more heat, you'll do this with your legs and tabletop. So now we're working then the core to not only move that small part of the upper body, but now we're using our core to make sure that the legs stay stabilized here, which is harder to do when they are elevated. Good. Breathe it in, make sure you're filling up all the way to use all that exhale, squeeze it out, okay? If you want even more with this, the next time you twist over to your right, take your left leg and stretch it away from your body. Then bring both legs back to that tabletop position, centered head. Then as you twist your left, your right leg is going to extend away. Come back to center again. So if you're choosing to extend that one leg, make sure the other knee doesn't pull in towards you. Remember, isolate this, control it. Okay, so again, finding whichever variation works for you. And let's do 2 more to the right side, 2 more to the left side. Use that breath. Remember, 50% of the work. When are you breathing? How are you breathing? Good. And then after you've done 2 more to each, again, no rush whatsoever. You're coming back to center. You're releasing everything down. Good. And then once you're down, knees into the chest, let's take the arms either out to T or cactus the arms. Just lower both legs to your right side. Look over your left shoulder. A simple twist. And then go ahead and come through center and then take it to the other side. Legs to left, looking over right shoulder. Good, then go ahead and come back through center. From center, we're gonna go ahead and lengthen the legs all the way out and we're gonna roll onto our right side body. So I have to flip around here. Right side body. We're going to move through some side leg work. So you have the option to prop yourself up onto your forearm like I am here. It's a little bit more challenging as you have to really make sure that you don't start to fall onto the arm, which can happen. So you're using a bit more arm strength and also feel the ribs pull away from the ground. Another option will be to come all the way to the mat and then just prop your head up with your hand. Let's take our, wait, am I doing that? Okay, sorry, I forgot what side I'm mirroring here. Sorry, guys. So left hand onto your hip, both feet are flat. So let's hover the top leg off,
the bottom leg, and then feel the leg, the top leg, just slightly roll in. You want to make sure your toes are all pointed forward. So we're working on that outer hip here. Let's take an exhale and lift that leg up a bit higher. Good, bring it back to hover again. Exhale, find lift. Make sure your hips here are stacked. You're in a straight line. Good, and you're looking forward. Find the lift, honing in on that muscle here. Bring it back to hover. Good, again, exhale, find lift. And then bring it back to a hover. We're doing 2 more of these. Find lift on the exhale. Also tighten the core each time. Release to hover. One last time, let's lift up that leg. This time only lowering halfway back down. Legs are about shoulder width apart. Let's point the toes now, that top leg. Lock that leg up firm. Begin to draw some circles, but really take your time. They're slow and small. We want to make sure everything else in the body stays like a statue. Breath is steady here for 3, 2, 1. Let's pause and let's reverse it now. Breath in, breath out. So we're using a little bit more core here now to help the upper body stay very still so the shoulders don't start rocking with the movement of that top leg. Good. 3, 2, 1. Let's pause here. Flex the foot again. Drive out through that heel. Now take some pulses up. Really emphasize the lift of this movement, not the drop down of it. Good. For 5. Keep breathing. 4. Working that hip. 3. Good. 2, 1. Good. Slowly take the leg all the way down. Let's take that knee, bend it front and forward. Maybe you tap out that hip a little bit with your hand. Just kind of release that. So we want to strengthen a bit into our legs, particularly the areas that we don't normally focus on, outer hips being one of them. Okay. Good. From here, let's go ahead and sit up. And we're going to sweep around and switch sides. So lying on your left side this time. Right hand's on your hip. So again, you can be all the way down or propped up. I'll do this one propped up this time so you can see the difference. Ribs pull away from the floor. I never want to sink in that shoulder. I'm pushing off the earth away from. So top leg is lifted, hovered slightly, and then that leg kind of feels like it's rolling in just a bit here. Chest is opened. I'm looking forward, and then I'm going to breathe out to lift the leg up a bit higher. And then bring it to hover again. Inhale. Navel pulls back to spine as I exhale and lift the leg. Then back to hover again. We're doing 4 more of these. 4. Back to hover. Again, 3 more. Find lift. Keep pushing out through that heel. Good. Hover. Can't really see it now, can you? 2 more. Lift. And hover. On this last one, let's take the leg up, but now only take it halfway down and point the toes. Lock the leg. Check if you're propped up. If you've sunk down. Go ahead, begin to draw these circles. Take your time. Slower movement means maybe a little bit more work, but definitely more control. Good. For 3, 2, 1. Pause and reverse it. Inhaling and exhaling. Did my legs yesterday. I'm feeling it already. Good. 5, 4. Keep on breathing. 3. Pull yourself up and in. 2. 1. Good. Pause. Flex the foot. Here we go. We're pulsing up. 5, 4, 3. Good. 2, 1. Take it down slow. Bend the knee front and forward. Give yourself a little tippity tap out here. Yes. All right. Go ahead. Let's from here, let's go ahead and press up to seated. All right. Seated, we're going to get even a little bit more stretch into those outer hip, the outer hip region. We're going to take the soles of our feet together. Hold on to your ankles for a moment just to give yourself that grip to stack up your spine. Keep the spine long as you take a hinge forward at your hips. So you're going to feel your tailbone try to root back behind you, right? Anchor back and down as the heart stretches forward. All right, and then we're going to slowly begin to melt forward from here. So start rounding in your lower back, then the middle back begins rounding, upper back, and then finally the head melts forward. So even though you're in this rounded position, we don't want to pull the heart back in a way. We want to continue to imagine that we're trying to stretch past our toes. Good. Go ahead and take one more deep breath in here in this folded position. Exhale, roll it on up slowly. Take your hands to the outside of your knees to draw the legs towards each other. Let's walk the feet out so they're hip width apart, knees the same. And if we've shifted a bit, we're gonna go ahead, come back to our centered position on our workspace, shall we say. Let's go ahead, clasp behind the knees to pull the belly up and in towards the thighs, sit up tall, hug between the shoulder blades again, right? Activating upper back for posture. From here, we're gonna rock back to balance point and lift the ankles in line with our knees. You can continue to lightly hold the backs of your legs for support, or you can release your hands, extend the arms out in front, make sure your hands are a little bit wider than shoulders. Again, that's just to keep chest opened. Looking slightly upward is going to help you here to keep your back nice and flat. This is your high boat. On an inhale, bring yourself down to your version of low boat. So you're gonna lean back a little or a lot. Legs are gonna push forward a little or a lot. Exhale, bring it back up. Use your core strength for your high boat. So notice my heart reaching upward. I'm not caving in here, yeah? Breath in for your version of low boat, little or lot. Exhale back up to your high boat. Let's do 4 more of these. Coming back on an inhale. Again, your variation. You can still, again, hold the backs of your legs for support. 3 more. Breath in. Good. Push it out. Find your lift. 2 more. Low boat version. High boat version. This last one, low boat version. Now hold your low boat. Breathe here. Fire it up. Good. For 5. 4. 3, 2, good, 1, release it down, lower onto your back, draw the knees in, give yourself a hug, rock it around, roll it around, recovery here. That's right, a lot of core today. All right, come back into stillness at center. Keep the right knee drawn into your chest. Stretch your left leg long onto the ground. Take a moment, just give your right leg a little hug into the body. Then take your right arm extended out to its side, either fully extended or bent at the elbow. Begin to cross your right leg over the body, looking over the right shoulder for a simple spinal twist. Good, then come back through center and then release the right leg. Stretch it out to meet your left. Draw then the left knee into chest. Hold on with both hands. Give it a little gentle hug in. Good, then extend your left arm out to its side. Begin to cross your left leg up and over the body, looking over the left shoulder, your twist. Breathe into that space. Good, take another breath in here, fill it up, and then slowly exhale and unwind back to center. Release the left leg, lengthen it out to meet your right. Let your arms come along your sides here, but maybe angle them out a bit, 45 degrees. Let your feet become really heavy. Let them just fall open naturally to their sides. Have your palms faced up, rolling those shoulders once again open. Feel the natural curl in your fingers here. Softly close your eyes. Slightly part your teeth, unhinge your jaw. If the roof is pressing up to, if the tongue is pressing up to the roof of your mouth, go ahead and let that fall away as well. So we're just going to spend just a few moments here in stillness with our breath again. Reconnecting. So come back to your inhales and your exhales. Maybe take note of how your body is feeling at the moment. And maybe you notice how it may differ from how it felt when you had started class. Is there any pulsation in your body? Any warmth, tingling sensation? Our lightning shavasana here, right?
With your next breath in, you're going to stretch the arms overhead. Come into a nice full lengthened body stretch. As you exhale, draw the knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself one last hug here. And then from here, begin to rock yourself forward and back, up and down your spine. Use a bit of your core here as you continue to rock yourself until you've come all the way up to seated. Ground your sits bones to the earth. Lift your heart to sky. Keeping the eyes closed here. Take your hands together. Bring them to your heart center and then lower the chin down to your chest. Bow your head to your heart and heart to your head. Take this moment here in connection with yourself to thank yourself for coming here this morning or this afternoon, right? For just showing up, for being present, for giving your body, mind, and soul this opportunity of movement, breath, stretching, and strengthening. We want to always listen to our body. We want to honor our body, and we always, always want to keep it moving. Thank you guys very much for joining me in this virtual class today. I look forward to many more of these with you. Namaste.